I had been kind of doing a little bit of research on my own, just totally independently, about kind of what's going on in the world of white collar work and knowledge workers in general. They are really starting to, not a thing that everybody just hates their job. Like this has always been the case, but people hate their job more than usual. And so waking up on a Monday has never been harder, apparently, at least just by the numbers. If you're looking at number of layoffs in the last couple of years, so from 2022 to 2025 or something like that, just gonna throw off some here. About $100,000 or $100,000, 100,000 people in the U.S. just in tech. Another 200,000 in the year following. 100,000 following that. 125 feet following that, just in tech.
Mhm.
That's about 600,000 layoffs in 3 to 4 years.
Mhm.
About half of people right now are actively worried about losing their job, and a little over
Is
a
it
third
that
have
bad
decided.
when you
In the
think about
United
it?
States, this is survey data. Um,
You know,
if you,
yeah, I'm thinking about it. But first of all, when big companies lay off, they give smaller companies a chance to get talent, right? To get
yeah,
smart people into their company. The second thing is these people can become, and a lot of them probably will become entrepreneurs and build new things and move the economy, right? And create
yeah,
more tools and help people or do something, help and contribute. That's interesting to check how bad it sounds, but how bad it really is.
yes. Well, and that's something that I'm thinking about a lot myself lately too, because I think there's a perception that when you look at the news, you're like, wow, everything's falling apart, like the world is ending. And when you look at sentiment, like half of people worry about their job loss. I don't think that that actually reflects the real danger of things like job loss and like you're saying, like I don't know if it's actually as bad as people are envisioning right now. I think the economy
Right.
is largely a scapegoat for a lot of other things.
Mhm.
Um, but
Hi, everybody, by the
this,
way.
yeah, I appreciate everybody showing up here,
Yeah.
and I think that the economy can be a bit of a scapegoat for societal problems, things like lack of, like this ties into things like lack of connection and
Mhm.
the disappearance of third places, and I think just general like a malaise that people don't really feel so great all the time, and they like to point at the economy.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think you're right, though. I think a lot of people are uncertain when maybe the uncertainty, like half of people worrying about job loss and 30, like that's about a third of people looking at side gigs, like actively might not reflect the reality of,
Yeah.
and they might a lot of the time, yeah, when people get laid off, they go to smaller companies, they do other things. A lot of the
Yeah.
times this can be for they'll go do something else, like or make more money.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
So
um,
yeah.
yeah,
So
this
so
kind of leads
generally, I
into,
think it's
yeah.
yeah. So I think it's just exaggeration of the media, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's probably way better than it is. Quite a lot of people joined. The Hi SD. Hi, Robin. Thank you for joining in for a few minutes for your appointment.
Yeah,
So,
no, thanks for joining, actually. I know SD said
yeah.
she was kinda busy.
Oh, by the way, it's your birthday today.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So happy
I can't
birthday.
believe I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, introduce yourself to everybody, and then I will do the same, and we'll get started.
Yeah, so I'm Alan, and I've done a lot of different things over the years. I was educated as an engineer, grew up in Florida, but I lived across the world in the Netherlands. I backpacked through Asia for a little over a year. I worked in technology, doing everything from programming for data centers to circuit design. And then along the way, I've also taken jobs in cafes and restaurants, and I move a lot, do a lot of things nowadays. I've worked in intelligence. I've done all sorts of crazy stuff, and I'm coming at this from the perspective of somebody who's never really found their niche in a corporate environment, and so that's my own personal involvement in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
interesting. I also worked in a few companies, and I had some, lucky for me, bad bosses that made me quit my job, which was paying quite well. and become a full-time solopreneur for almost, I think, 3 years now. In a week, it will be 3 years. It's been a crazy journey, and yeah, I
Mm,
just love most parts of it. Most parts of it.
yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah,
3 years goes by fast, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
very fast.
and that's a little bit what I was kind of wanting to hit at in this is discussion as well, was that, like we were saying, I think a lot of people have this idea that the economy is doing bad and I'm worried about my job. Whether or not that's true, it's up to debate, but that makes people look at alternative sources of income pretty seriously. Um,
Hmm.
and so I know just in the US in the last 5 or so years since COVID, we've had about a doubling of the number of people who claim to be, there's a technical
I,
term, non-employers. It's basically like
Ellen,
in employment. It's like a solopreneur. We've about doubled the
you're
number. So kind of re-railing this whole thing back to where we were before was that I think a lot of people are really seriously looking at taking this road of I'm going to work for myself. Like I can't trust big companies anymore. I'm seeing layoffs in the news. I want to work for myself. I maybe generationally there's also something playing into that. Maybe just different cultural attitudes among younger people.
yeah.
Um, and you have firsthand experience with all of this. So maybe we start at the high level. Like, how do you think has your life materially changed, like since when you were working for a software company back in 23 versus now? Like, what are the things that you notice have changed the most or changed the least, like in a way that you thought would be different, but wasn't?
Interesting. So I think that one of the things that changed the most for me is probably socializing with people, right? So
Oh,
before I left my job, I was quite social. I talked to a lot of people, and I could quite easily start a conversation with anybody.
hmm.
But then, after 3 years of being mostly at home, yesterday I went out with my fiance on a double date, and it felt quite awkward. I mean, usually I would get into this quite easily, but it felt a bit awkward. I hope the
Hmm.
guys who we double dated with will not see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, for me it was hard to get the conversation going. Lucky for me, my fiance is very talkative, so she did most of the talking. But yeah, it felt like it's harder to socialize. So that, and yeah, also before, when I was working, most of the day would just go on doing nothing. So I would not have time for myself, because the free time that I had, I wanted to work,
yeah.
because I always knew that I want to quit my job and do something else, right? So
Yeah.
I would spend my time at work, so like 9 hours, 10 hours, then commute another hour and a half, and then I would work a little bit, and then spend time with my, back then she was my girlfriend, and then yeah, that was my day. So I didn't have time for myself. And right now, I experience so many different emotions and feelings that I have to sit down and figure out what's wrong with me, because most of the time it's bad feelings, right? So it's burnout, it's loneliness, it's needing somebody to know what I'm going through. And so you have to sit
Yeah.
down with yourself and to write things and to figure these things out. But what you get from it is amazing, because I know so much more about myself. I feel much more confident with my skills, with what I know, with what I can bring. And I know I can do anything that I'll set my mind to. So before that, if I had an idea or I wanted to do something, then I had in the back of my mind that idea, but I also had in the back of my mind, okay, it's just an idea. You can never make it work. You can try, but you'll stop, etc. Right now, when I get an idea, I know that if I'll set my mind to it, I know it, I will make it work and it will be awesome. So it's that confidence that I got that I think is worth everything.
Yeah. So you think you weren't like as confident before?
Not even
Like,
close.
so you wouldn't think of you wouldn't describe yourself as confident before.
I would show out as confident, but I wasn't.
Yeah. Do you think
Mhm.
that working at a software company, like, were you somebody that got to do a lot of like presenting and that sort of thing? Like, do you think you were Did you feel like you were competent and skilled and like in all those other ways?
So I guess in the beginning, I didn't feel that, but the more I worked, the more, the less I cared. So the less I thought about whether I'm competent enough or not. So yeah, I didn't think about it before, like at my last job.
You mean like you were kind of checking out quietly, just kind of like, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
show up and
exactly.
yeah. Was it like boredom, you think, or like, or just like poor management, just not enough like work or too much work?
So yeah. So mostly it was I read a lot of books. So since COVID, I read quite a lot of books, and I was charmed by the idea of building something for yourself and
Yeah.
having no upper limit to what you can do, right? Because when you work a job, you have an upper limit to how much you can make, what you can do, how many people you can affect, right? But when you work for yourself, you can choose any goal you'd like, anything. You want to help 1 billion people, that can be your goal and you can make it. Nobody stops you. You just obviously need to figure out how to do that. But there is no limit to what you can do. And
Mhm.
I loved that idea. And so
Yeah.
I knew I was going to make it. And having incredibly awful bosses pushed me over the edge. Sounds bad, but pushed me over the line quite fast.
Yeah. Hmm. That's yeah, I mean, I can relate to that experience as well. Like I've noticed that one of the things that I really dislike about corporate work right now is, and always in my various jobs have, is that ceiling that you run against. I don't know if that's like a personality mismatch, but that bothers me at a very deep level. That like I don't want to be limited in any way, shape, or form. And I remember growing up, like always being, I was always building something, and it was always some, like even as far back as like being a kid. Like I don't know if you were like a Minecraft kid or whatever. I was in like middle school when Minecraft came
I was
out.
a Maple Story kid.
Okay, so the same thing though. It's like I played a couple of games as well. Like I had friends who were into Maple Story, and I played RuneScape for a while, and it was this idea that like you're constantly leveling up this character or leveling up your skills and getting better. And then when I became an engineer, it was this idea that like I have an idea and I'll just keep building on it and building on it and building on it. I had a company with like a company, but we had an LLC, but that was it. Between me and a
Okay.
couple of college friends, we were making a game together, and there's this thing that like there was no, if you could think of it and you had the time for it, you could build it, and that was awesome. Like that was so cool, and that lack of ethos in like the corporate world is just like very hard to stomach some days, and maybe that's what you're describing a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But, like, do you think that there's, like, a certain personality type, or do you think that's just intrinsic to, like, people don't like to be limited? I mean, this is, like, a really biased sample because, like, you and I are already doing this thing on Substack. I think a lot of Substackers are already kind of free thinkers to begin with. So, I don't know.
So I don't think there is a certain personality for it. Anybody can I believe that anybody can do anything they set their mind to eventually. But there is maybe a certain thing that you need to have, and that's really wanted it, really wanting
Yeah.
it. Because if you don't really want it, if you're not obsessed with it, if that's not something that burns in you, then first of all, you probably won't take the first step, which is just jumping, right? So quitting your job, doing it, or I mean, I don't tell anybody to quit their job or do it full time. Many people succeeded by doing it on the side, and then when they had enough cash generated, they left their job and then they kept their business. Um, but if it doesn't burn inside you to do that, then you won't even spend the time after a job to build a business or do something else. You'll just rest or go to the beach or do something else, visit your family, which is fine. I mean, everybody has their own way, um, but yeah, it takes a lot of effort to do something different, to be different, and to live the life that you really want to live.
Yeah. And I think that what you're describing too is it's like the kind version of this whole thing because I think that there's wanting to do it, but I also think there is like one way I've heard it described is it's not just about wanting to do it. Like there are a lot of things I want to do at the end of the day, maybe even desperately. Um, but it is this thing that you can't not do it. Like you can't help but do it. And I think there's a combination of this internal drive for it and maybe a little bit of this push from behind too. It's like I know for myself, the longer I work in kind of these bureaucratic environments, the more I feel like I am there's this like internal pulling that happens like where it feels like
Mhm.
you're I don't want to say like I really don't want to discredit people that enjoy their corporate job at all. Like this is but it feels a little bit like I'm wasting my own potential
Mhm.
despite the fact that I'm ostensibly doing well. And it's like I know there's this thing that I would rather be doing with and the fact that I'm somewhere else creates a lot of distress. It's it's not just like a forward push, but a forward pull, but it's almost like a push from behind. Like I'm there's this on the and this is something maybe people can relate to is this need of feeling to escape from under a rock a little bit. And I don't know, did you feel that at your when you left software or was it more
Yeah.
just like yeah, and it
Um,
can be intense.
yeah. So for me, it just felt like, that's a good question. What exactly I felt, because I'm quite impulsive, right? I don't think about things for a very long time. I usually trust my gut.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just felt like I've had enough and it was the right time. And so I woke up in the morning. I knew that I was going to do it that day. And if I would have talked to anybody, they could have talked me out of it. So I just went ahead with myself. I told my manager that I quit, and then I told everybody else.
Interesting. And how did that like what was the feeling of that? Like did you think that like you said it was the right time, but was it the right time or is that just the impulsivity just going like, you know what? This is something I need to do and like I don't have anything
Just
going on for the next 2
just
months, so
just being impulsive. I mean, I had enough money to sustain me for like what was it, 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that, that I saved. But I didn't care about that. I just knew that I'm gonna do that. That's it. I've had enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um but I do think it takes a little bit of that personality type, a little bit of that impulsivity maybe to just pull the
Hmm.
trigger. I know a lot of people that talk about leaving their jobs and maybe it's different maybe if you have children or not
Yeah.
totally different but perhaps harder. But even then I know that there is a real grass is greener effect going on too.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people who say they would like to quit their jobs and do something else for themselves. I feel like the millennial or like Gen Z meme is kind of like everybody wants to quit their job and become a farmer or something like that, or work in a cafe. Like nobody does this, or very
Yeah.
few people do. And so a lot of there is something that has to happen that throws you over that threshold. If it's a little bit of impulsivity, some people really feel and maybe that's really what it just is. It's just you gotta be a little impulsive. Um,
Yeah. You also
I don't know.
need to, even if you don't want to, if you're not impulsive, maybe the other way to do it, you need it also when you're impulsive, but the discipline to follow what you want, right? So, like I
Yeah,
said, you don't have to quit your job, but you do have to understand that you're probably going to work weekends and work after your job and miss out on a lot of things that you would otherwise not,
yeah,
and probably see a lot less people. And if you used to see your friends every weekend or your family or whatever, you won't. Yeah, because I mean that's just a price you should be willing to
yeah,
pay to chase your dreams, and that's not everybody's dreams.
yeah,
Some people are okay with working corporate and getting home from work at 5, 6, 4, whenever, and yeah, just
yeah.
living their life.
And that is a little bit where the reality and meets fantasy a little bit because I think a lot of people have this idea where they're going to Like, here's a story from somebody I know personally. They were like,
Mhm.
"I'm gonna quit my job because I've got this great idea. I'm gonna go buy these. I'm gonna get investment from a bank. I'm gonna
Mhm.
buy a couple of sandwich shops, hire a couple of managers, and I'm gonna work 3 days a week. And my managers are gonna manage the shop, and they're gonna sell sandwiches, and I'm gonna be making more money than I ever was, and this is all gonna work out great." And that's the fantasy of, well, my income is going to outstrip my like, is going to decouple from the hours that I work every day, and so now I'm not, like, being paid by the hour or by my output, and, like, this whole empire is gonna grow underneath me,
Yeah.
and I know that's not the case, but what
Yeah.
is your
And
experience
then
to
and
that?
then yeah, and then they realize that it takes a lot more than just getting a place, making sandwiches, and just getting managers, right? Because you need to pay those managers quite a lot of money. You need to pay for the place that you have, for the sandwiches, you need to market. And it's such there are rules, there are legal stuff, and
Yeah,
there are so many things that when these people think that it's just going to be that simple, they start and then they figure out that it's a bit harder than they thought, and then they mostly stop there,
yeah,
right? When they see that it's not as easy as they thought to just pay somebody to come be a manager at your sandwich pop-up or whatever it is, and then it's not that simple to find a place and to create those sandwiches and whatever it is, and that's when
yeah,
they stop. Right before they get going, they stop. And I truly believe that if somebody would have followed through, they might have failed, but they would have learned so much. And if they would try it again, they would probably make it work. Um,
yeah,
but people just don't follow up on that because they see how hard it is and they break. As this says
yeah,
here, I think people who follow money will have a harder time sticking to the plan when it gets harder. Um,
yeah.
yeah. You know, mm, it depends, I think, about the money. All right. So if your goal is to have financial freedom because you want to do because you want to have freedom of choice, right? And then your current main goal is making more money. I mean, your bigger goal is being decision free, but your current goal, your smaller one, is making money. So, and if you have a plan that can make more money than the other, but it will be a little bit harder, then you might go with that plan because it will get you to your bigger goal faster. So
And I think there's
mm,
this idea that you're going to make money, which is just not like, there's no given there. Like,
yeah,
I know
exactly.
you've written about this a couple of times, but you had something like 600 plus days and about a dozen failed products, and like, that doesn't sound like the fast track to like the money land to me. Like, I
No,
feel like they're outside of that like the delayed phase where, like, Apple eventually took off and they made $1 billion or whatever. Like, if you just needed money, there are better ways to do that on the scale of 1 to 2 years. Like, if you just needed money for like a
that
house that you wanted
depends.
to buy next year.
That
Well,
depends
what do
on
you
how
mean?
much money you want, right? Because
Yeah,
if
good
you
point.
want to buy a house in 1 or 2 years, it depends on where you live. It will
Mm,
probably take you more than a year or two working for corporate,
yeah.
right? So it really depends on your bigger goal. He says, and that's the problem. Whatever will not make money fast enough and easy enough will be tossed. Um, why is it a problem?
And it depends on your personality too, maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
perhaps.
if you're really motivated by, like, I know personally, if you dangled $1 million in front of my face and just said, like, all you have to do is enter, like, be a data entry person for 6 months, and this $1 million is yours, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do
You
it.
don't really.
I just am not motivated by money like that. Like,
Wow.
if
All right.
I would rather, man, I don't know, I would rather die than be bored for an excessive period of time like that. I just
Wow.
can't. I
Well,
can't
I
do
would
it.
think about it. All right. So I'll suffer for 6 months but then I'll have like, I don't
Yeah.
know how many ever years
If
to
it's
do.
time bounded, maybe you're like exactly 6 months. Maybe I could just push through. But like in general, like my motivation just doesn't. And I don't know, maybe you're the similar. Is like you probably have to be because you don't do this sort of thing. You don't like push through 600 days and a dozen products if you don't feel like that. Is that
So
the
it's not accurate. I think I wrote about it in my last article before that it's not like I'm motivated every day, and every day I feel like I can't wait to get my feet off the bed and get to work. Like, and especially last probably 2 months, it was harder. It gets better, but it's not always easy, right? To keep doing these things. It's not always fun. Like, I don't like marketing. I
like
don't
you
like
figure out doing?
marketing. I don't like I don't like writing, honestly, but I still do it.
Yeah,
Right? I
yeah,
still do it. I still send a lot of direct messages. I still contact with people, and I still do the things that are not very easy, even though it's not fun and it's
yeah,
sometimes very, very boring. But
yeah,
I know that it's for my bigger goal to be decision free.
yeah.
And so,
That's what I'm saying. Is like you're right. I think in a roundabout way, you're that's a refinement of my statement. Is like it's not like it's about having needing motivation all the time because you do want what you're going for, but it depends on what you want. Like, and what you want to be is decision free. It sounds like, and that's the
yeah,
overarching goal. And so that pushes. That's the thing you're fighting for. Um,
yeah.
but if all you're fighting for is just the extra dollars or whatever currency you want to insert there,
Hmm.
I guess it depends on the
Some
kind of person you are. Like
Yeah, exactly.
maybe,
Some people see it as a game and they
yeah,
enjoy it so much that they don't really care about the money, but they care more about being better at the game. Like when you play
yeah,
World of Warcraft or MapleStore or whatever, and you get your gear better and you level up, then you like it. You like it that you're good at it, and you like it that you're getting better. And so
yeah,
that becomes just a game for them, right? And that's what I enjoy. So they don't do it for the money because they don't need any more money, but more to get better gear, right?
yeah.
To be
Do you
better.
think
Yeah.
that you're in the category of somebody that wants to be sort of good at the game, to be maybe the best at the game? Is that some, or is it more like
Nah,
it's more like
not
I
really.
wanted that specific helmet and I'm gonna go for the helmet? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's me.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really care about making filthy amount of money or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I can relate to that because I think I'm about because I'm not competitive in that way, but I do have when there's something that I want, it's like that it becomes consuming. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean,
so, yeah,
yeah, so I am very competitive in terms of, like, right now I'm building WriteStack,
yeah,
and every time I see a competitor does something or mimics me or a new tool that comes out, then I'll immediately check it out. I'll see what they do, and I'll always be better. And if I see that they do something that works for them, then I'll do it 10 times better than them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you think like what are some of those instances? Like, were there some products like you can be specific or just like hand wave something like that something either came out that really like was similar and really lit a fire under you that like no, I want to outcompete this person, or that really kind of made you wonder like wow, I hope this is I need to pivot and adapt like because this stuff is not linear and like one
Right.
it can seem like things are going well today and then tomorrow there's a
Yeah.
challenge that like now I need to like
Exactly.
outcompete somebody.
So I will not name products. I will not give them free
Yeah,
traffic, but there is one. They're not really good, but they have a lot of traffic from Google
yeah,
because they really work hard on SEO. And so I saw what they did. I saw where they published, and I just had a few agents that run and publish there every day.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm also improving my SEO games automatically. I mean, I don't do anything. I sit down for like a few hours to create those agents, and now they run every day. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
So did that like do you get like worried over that kind of stuff? Were you like,
yeah.
does that like cause you?
Even though I know that, I'll be honest here, I don't think that there is any real competition yet for WriteStack, and I wish there was, because then more people would be aware of Substack tools and it would grow the pie. But even though there isn't a real competitor right now, it still makes me anxious every time I see that this tool did a little bit better, meant that their traffic got a little bit better, or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think like in general that you find it difficult to like stay to not look left and right too much? Like there's a balance between being aware of what your competitors are doing and like also
Yeah.
focusing on your own
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. So there is one competitor of quite a big Substack creator that has a uh, how is it called? Like a social social platform inside of it, that it has a feed of people
Mm,
who share their content automatically, and then they can interact
okay.
with each other and stuff, like something social feature. And I wasn't tempted into doing that, because WriteStack is not about socializing with each other. It's growing your Substack faster and getting more paid subscribers. So that's what it's all about. And if I would add the social element to it, I would I would just bloat the app with features that are not relevant and that do not hit my target audience. So yeah, I see what they do, but I don't necessarily take something from it.
Yeah, and maybe that's something that a lot of people fall into too. I mean, we spoke briefly about this before. Was that it's very tempting to like add new things or like
Right.
expand, try different things. Like this social thing is maybe one example, but you tried a few different apps at least, right?
Yeah.
And with varying degrees of success. Like, what was that? Like, do you think that like what were some of those apps maybe? And like, are those still alive, or are those just is it just WriteStack right now? Like, what was the experience going through that? Because that just also like psychologically, like, because you don't know if any of these things are going to pan out. So
Right, right. So nothing really worked out before WriteStack, but one app that I made quite at the beginning of my journey, that is still relevant now and that I still use to this day, is called Pinky Partner. So what it
okay,
is you create a, and that was before AI. So if you ever go to pinkypartner.com, whatever you see there is before
yeah,
AI. But yeah, so you would create a contract with a friend of yours or whoever, and then you would say like, meditate every morning for 5 minutes or whatever you want, and
mm,
then you would have every day or the amount of days that you want in the week. And then when you would mark that day as done, your accountability partner, your pinky partner, would get a notification that you did your assignment, and that would make them want to do it as well. And then, yeah, so that's how you build a habit together.
yeah. How long did that project like take you to build? Like, how many months do you think you invested in that? Like,
So
not
it,
just building it, but like trying to make that your primary thing before you realize like, yeah, time to move on.
I think building it took me like 3 to 4 weeks. And I remember one weekend in specific that my girlfriend back then, and now she's my fiance, we had something to do over the weekend that was supposed to be really fun. I don't remember what it is, but I told her that I have to stay on to make it work,
Mhm.
because it didn't work. And so I stayed the entire weekend and I felt bad about it, but I knew that it was that I need to do that. I need to do it.
Yeah,
And eventually, like I told you, it didn't work out. It didn't get a lot of users, but I didn't know it back then, and I was focused on it. I knew I need to get it done, and yeah.
Do you do, do you have any like sunk cost associated with that? You're like, oh my god, like I spent whatever 4 weeks and I missed this weekend, and like I thought this was going to be the thing, and at the time you were probably like very stressed about it, and like
Yeah, very
didn't
stressed,
matter.
but yeah, it's part of the story. I mean, these things are interesting to share later and tell when you're talking to people like I'm talking to you. It's part of my story. It's part of the things that I did, that I sacrificed to be where I'm at today. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, there's no way you could have known on the front end that
Right.
that was going to
No,
happen too. Like
no,
that,
not at all.
and that's
Yeah.
something that people maybe don't understand when they're looking to do the whole solopreneur thing either, is that there's no like that wasn't the only false start either. Like you tried a number of things, and
Yeah.
each one of those comes with all of its own stress. Like you're launching a new product from nothing, and you're not sure if it's going to work, but you really hope it's going to work. And
Right.
like, was there?
WriteStack didn't start as WriteStack. It started as Articles Generate, which
Yeah,
generated article ideas for you and outlines based on what you wrote before and based on best articles in your niche. It was pretty nice, but people just didn't like it.
was that
And
the
so I
original name?
pivoted. Yeah,
Right.
Articles Generate. I don't think the URL is still available. Articlesgenerate.com. No, it's not. I didn't pay for it, but it was.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and what made you stick with that? Like, cause that idea is like quickly usurped by like if that was all it did, like I think that is not like I think that's probably why you did change things around too. It's like AI and things start creeping in on that territory pretty fast. Like,
Yeah, so I
where's the
decided that
story
this
there?
yeah, so I decided that this was going to be a project that I'm going to spend at least 6 months on before moving on to the next idea or before quitting. Back then I thought. And yeah, so after I completed building it in like 2 or 3 weeks, I knew I had 5 months to do something with it. So I started sending people direct messages about it, getting feedback, figuring out what works, what doesn't. And yeah, when people told me that it's not a problem that they have, one of them, it was Casper, his name, he told me that he had a problem with notes and not with articles. And that's when I realized that that's the thing that I missed. Every tool for a social platform, like Tweet Hunter, SuperX, Hype Fury, Duply, or whatever, they all focus on short form content. I mean, that's all there is, right, on these platforms. And so that's exactly what I needed to focus on too for WriteStack.
Yeah,
And that's when I changed. It was Write Room then, and then I changed it to WriteStack. And
yeah. When you were rebranding it, like, was that did you, like, agonize over that? Like, that's like a
no,
it's a part of I don't know, that's like
I
the
don't, I
DNA of
don't,
this company. Or did you just
yeah,
pick
I
something?
don't really get emotional about these stuff. I don't
Oh,
care.
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that how you do most of your, like I don't wanna say, like, marketing, but, like, research? Like, how do you keep your finger on the pulse of, like, what people are doing? Like, just DMs and chatting with people? It's, like,
Yeah.
all peer to peer?
Support tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You answer a lot of support tickets, don't you? Like, I saw
Yeah.
you passed, like, what, 1,000 or
Yeah.
something like
A
that,
thousand.
some
A
big
thousand.
number.
Yeah.
1,000, yeah,
A
yeah.
thousand in the past 365 days. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, it's like just being in touch with your and there's a balance there too. It's like being in touch with your own users and also trying to provide something that will pull other people on. Like, how do you decide
Right.
like what features you're gonna add, what features you're gonna axe? Like maybe not every or maybe not axe, but like deprecate or because the
Yeah.
platform's
So,
changing fast.
yeah. Yeah. So most of the things that I get are from when many people ask for the same thing, right? And I also use WriteStack daily, more than once a day. So I know exactly most of the bugs there. I know what works, what doesn't, what annoys me. And so it's based on my feeling and what people ask for.
Yeah. Do
In
you
the
have like
beginning, what I
a
did is I
oh,
just
sorry, go
went
ahead.
over to competitors, I mean, to tools on other platforms. I saw what they do and I took what I liked.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Do you have like a public roadmap that you kind of update and
Yeah.
like
Yeah, so it's on features.writestack.io.
features that right stack?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
there I write everything and all the features, and everybody can add and everybody can engage with it.
yeah. And you
Yeah.
said you committed to 6 months of this, and was there any reason for, like, the magical for that particular number? Like,
No,
did you think that, like, before that you were, like, not committing to stuff? Like or did you wanna, like, stick it with for, like, longer or shorter?
I just wanted to give it an appropriate amount of time and even more than that to see what happens.
Yeah. So what's
Yeah.
your barometer for like if you had a couple of projects in the past and you not all of them survived, like when do you call it quits? You're like, okay, I've invested 5, 6, 8, 10 weeks in this project. It's not going anywhere. Like how
So
do
it
you know when
depends.
that's the case?
It depends, because if you just spent 10 weeks building it and you didn't show it to anybody, then you can never know. But if you tried anything you can, whether it's sending as many DMs as you can every day and talking about it online and maybe even running ads for it, and trying to pivot and change things, then it takes quite some time. I'd say at least 3 months before you say, all right, this idea is bad and it's not worth it. But in 3 months of doing that, you will learn so much more than a year of just building things and hoping people would use it because it's a good idea.
Yeah. And that's
Mhm.
like that is something that I think that okay, I'm gonna project really hard now. That is something I think that people struggle with, and by people I mean me, is you wanna build something and it's something that you want to build and that's interesting to you and that pushes you forward. You have no idea if anybody wants it, but it would be just fun to build. And there is maybe a line between people who just like to build things and people who are going to turn that into a business. And those overlap a little bit, but like not all the
It
way
depends on
at
your
all.
goal. It depends on your goal. If you just want to build something just for the sake of it, then you won't turn it into a business. But if you want to build a business and you also enjoy building things, then it's not going to be easy. But I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's this kind of I don't know if it's a myth or like a popular maybe just a few popular exceptions, but like I can think of like the Steve Jobs type. You just show up and you're like, I am going to everybody step aside. I have a genius idea, and when we do this thing, we're all going to make $1 million.
No, it
And
doesn't work like that.
yeah,
It just doesn't. Yeah, I mean, especially today when you can literally build any idea that you have in a weekend, right?
yeah,
Even if you don't know how to code. So what matters most is your execution, is how you market it and who you talk to, what's your distribution system, what's your brand, do people know you, do they not know you, how would you make them know you. There are so many things that when you get started and you realize how hard it is but you still do it, you learn and you figure your way.
yeah. And I mean, business has always been a networking game. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, that's always why even at these like classical big tech companies, like you look at Apple and Microsoft, like you had the two Steves, and you had like one Steve was like technical Steve, and one was like business guy Steve. Or then you had like Paul Allen, who was like the technical guy for Bill Gates. And I think there is there for a lot of people that are technically inclined, they like to believe that it's just about product.
Right.
And in your
But it's not.
experience, it's not, right? Like,
It's all these big companies are the survivor bias, right? You don't hear
yeah,
about the millions that probably failed.
yeah.
You only see those who
Um,
succeeded. So it's easy to say, yeah, I will be like Bill Gates. I'll just walk into the building. I have this idea. I will make it work. I will put a desktop on every home, just like that, and it will happen. Yeah.
did
So
you ever have that illusion? Like that, especially at the beginning, maybe you were like,
it's
I'm just
not
going to build
no.
this thing and the
It's
people will
not.
come.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. That was my perception in the beginning. Is that if people didn't come, the idea wasn't good, but not even close.
Like, did you go through a period where you tried that? Like, what made you realize that?
Building RightStack and spending a few months on it.
Yeah. So
So
how
like I
did you
told you,
get
the,
people to
the
finally come to
initial the
WriteStack? Just
initial
DMs?
idea, yeah. So the initial, like I told you, the initial idea was bad, but I turned it into something valuable. And yeah, in the beginning, I get people through DMs.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so that's not, and again, we can talk about like all the stuff that goes on in terms of like, well, when this happens and you pivot here and then you change your strategy and then you like try to make this work. And if you don't, like, And it feels a
You know,
little bit like a flow chart of like, but the
inter-
lived
this is
experience is not that, is it?
this
Like,
is. I mean, we should certainly do a lab about that. Maybe talking about if that interests you, more
yeah,
about how you make these decisions and what decisions you make when and stuff like that. Yeah, that the diagram that you talked about. Yeah, it can be interesting for our next live. Really, so much
yeah.
to talk about there. Yeah,
I mean, I'd be very interested in that personally, just selfishly, because we were talking about like how do I like my own personal journey here and like what am I trying to do? And I think you're right.
you
I
know.
wanna I'm gonna stake my claim in this and I just wanna make this like particularly the lives and the podcasting, like I've been really
Yeah,
loving that stuff lately. And I'm gonna throw a stake in the ground on that and see where it takes me. So I think
yeah,
that's gonna
yeah,
be a journey,
a
but
hundred percent.
I'll be
So
looking to learn along the way. But
yeah, so maybe next time what we can do is you share what you're trying to do, and then we can sort of talk about it and
yeah.
see how you can make it bigger, and then help people who are also interested in podcasting or building their business, help them make decisions.
Yeah. That'd be really cool.
Yeah,
Like that'd be so much fun, dude.
yeah,
And but I mean, what I was getting at before though was that like, there is a flow chart of like here are good decisions and here are bad decisions. But on the day to day, it's not just this hyper rational like I'm a robot today and we're gonna make like what was the trajectory of like your like of emotions surrounding that? Like how did you manage all the emotions surrounding like, well, is this gonna work? Is this like do I trust myself to do this? Like what or was there something else you were feeling like because it's a human part is what makes it hard. It's not just like the
yeah. So like I told you, I'm very impulsive. I mean, I don't think most of the things that I do through. I just do them, right? So I
yeah.
just trust my gut, honestly, when it comes to making decisions.
But I mean, there were definitely times like I know that can't have like unless you do, I mean, maybe you've got nerves of steel that I don't, but like you had the one of your big features was like the note scheduler. And all of a sudden Substack comes out and it's like now you can schedule your notes. And now you had to like in like
Yeah,
rewrite a feature and then reposition the whole like business model and say like or reposition the whole feature with
yeah,
respect to
yeah,
like how you advertise that that didn't
yeah.
like what was this that worrying like
Of
um
course. Of course, I was in the middle of a vacation that I had, and I was super worried, but I also knew what I need to do. So I was worried for like a few hours, but then I switched and I knew what I need to do next, right? And so I just focused on implementing the feature, making it work, fixing the bugs, and putting it out there, changing the message, and yeah. So it's not that I don't care about these things. It's not that it doesn't bother me or it doesn't make me anxious, but um, I just I feel it. I'm okay with it, and then I move on quite fast.
so do you think you're a pretty like emotionally regulated person like you come back to baseline pretty
Maybe more
fast
emotionally blocked
block time
rather than regulated, or maybe you know
yeah
what? Let calling it regulated is better. It sounds better.
and it sounds nicer right yeah it sounds like
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
need
yeah,
some years of therapy
yeah,
no
yeah, yeah.
but
Exactly.
it's yeah one thing I'd heard was that a lot of the skills that help you in your personal life might are at odds with the skills that help you in your professional life. And so being able to block emotions like that actually is probably not a bad skill to have, if you
It
want to
helps
call it block. Um,
regulate.
like, yeah, yeah. But you were on vacation too, so like, you didn't let like did that make it hard to like enjoy the rest of the vacation, or did you just
Of
like
course.
snap right back into it?
No, no, of course. Of course. I was thinking about it all the time, right?
Yeah,
All the time I was thinking whether it's working, what will happen next, what should I do. It really bothered me, but I find it quite easy to regulate these thoughts.
yeah.
Like when I had some free time to think, I would think about it because I wanted to think about it. But if I didn't want to think about it, then I just wouldn't.
And you don't have like an overly contrived like you don't like, are you like a journaler or like do you like meditate on this stuff or just kind
No, no. I mean, maybe it's not good. Maybe I'm doing a lot of bad
of
mistakes, but yeah, I mean, maybe it's laziness, but Yeah.
Maybe it's just personality too. Like,
Yeah.
I know there's all this like, you can be your Hubermans out there who are like, now I'm gonna have my 30 minutes of journaling with my like followed by my caffeine 90 minutes after waking and like gonna hyper and then like meditate for 30 minutes at the end of the day and like I don't know if everyone's like that. Like I don't know if
No.
everyone thinks like that. So
No.
um,
No. Yeah.
yeah, maybe I'm just trying to get a little bit of a handle on like how you ride that roller coaster because
You
you
just
have
need to
something
be
you
you
want, but
and not try to be anybody else. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and like you said, like you have this thing you want, but like there's also a really good question to be asked is like, is it worth it? And like, some people might struggle with that more too. It's the, maybe some people have the work ethic, but maybe some people don't have the constitution. Or do you think you can build that? Like,
You can build
to
that.
just live with that?
I was before um so before reading books, I didn't read a single non-fictional book before the age of 26,
Mhm.
right? And so I turned from not reading a single book to reading like probably 50 or 60 books a year or more, right? For a very long period, for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you can change it. You just need to find a reason to change it.
Yeah. Like,
Mhm.
but do you think that you said you didn't consume nonfiction? Did you consume a lot of fiction before that?
No, not
Okay.
they didn't read books. Yeah, just I say nonfiction because I read a few fiction books when I was probably age of, I don't know, in school mostly for school projects.
Yeah. And
Yeah, maybe
which of the
like a few
nonfiction
books.
writers stuck with you the most? Like, who are the
I
people
think,
you're like, I
yeah,
want to be like that?
David Goggins.
David Goggins, really?
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
yeah, you read his book and liked it. David
yeah,
Goggins.
yeah. I read his book I think twice, and I listened to it also twice.
Yeah. I think it says something about like where you are at that period in time in your life, and
Yeah,
like it kind of has to hit you at just the right time, in just the right
right,
way. It just
right,
sticks.
right, right.
Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I can think of any any books. Like I read a lot. I've read a lot of books, but I think more than books, I think certain speakers have resonated with me a lot. Um,
Hmm.
so I know Simon Sinek was a big influence on me. Who's now on Substack, actually. Funny enough, um, the the guy back in this is gonna he's gonna get me canceled, but back when he was just starting out, I was really into Mike Israetel from
Oh yeah, I know him.
Renaissance Visualization. Yeah, there's also a guy Greg Nuckols in that same sphere. Very
Hmm.
very smart dude. He used to write a bunch of exercise blogs. Blog called Stronger by Science. Chris Williamson from Modern Wisdom.
Oh, I know.
Um,
Yeah, I love his podcast.
yeah, I feel like I can't point to like one person, but I can point to like maybe like 5 or 6 people who I look up to. I'm like, man, these people are like worth trying to pull some of their ideas. Hormozy to an
Yeah,
extent. Like,
yeah, yeah,
um, I don't know, maybe that's a caricature, but
yeah. Or
yeah,
Moses is
he's
great.
I love him, man. I love the man.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Marate says here you have to build it. Building means committing to having no control and being in the process. What do you mean by that? And by the way, if anybody has any questions while listening, feel free to send them. We're going to wrap this up real
yeah,
soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
please send me questions. I was hoping we could really get some very like personal perspectives on some of these things because
yeah,
I mean, in the live stream, I think that's such a good format for that sort of thing,
right.
where you
And
have the
also,
person like literally on the other line.
yeah. And also, anybody who listens, feel free to send a direct message to me and to Ellen, ask any question that you have. Um, yeah. So, any last words, Ellen?
Nah, I think we hit a lot of stuff. I just wanted to hear, like, how do you go through this whole solopreneur journey and maybe give people some examples? Because I don't know if there's a one size fits all for this sort of thing, but like, do they, who should consider making that jump? When is it like, what are the things that actually come with that? when you have to struggle through that process and what makes it all worth it, and just hearing that personal perspective on all of it, because
Yeah.
it's not just I hate my white collar job and I want to go work for myself because my sandwich shops are going to fund my 3 day a week work life. Much more than that.
Yeah.
And
So one thing that I will say, and I will answer the you were talking about this, how long you need to commit to a project. Building means committing to having no control and being in a yeah. So, but you do need to have some sort of a deadline, because deadlines also gives you, how do you call it, urgency, a sense of urgency
yeah,
to get things done. And so I would say one thing for people who think about taking the step, and that you're going to think that you'll have a lot of time. And if you really want to do it, you should do it 100%. You're going to think that you will have a lot of time to do a lot of things, but you'll find out really fast that you don't. And it's better to focus on one thing that you really want to do, and focusing all your energy on that, and not spread yourself to think to like have a write on 2 social platforms, create YouTube videos, have a podcast, build a product. It just doesn't work. So you need to start from one thing and build to more as this thing gets big enough for you to have somebody else run it, and you move on to the next thing. So yeah, focus on one thing and
yeah,
you'll do good.
yeah. One thing I've a really cool idea I heard was you can do everything, just not all at the same time.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's the multi passionate's dilemma. Is like it's not that it's illegal to be interested in more than one thing, just that don't do it all at once.
Right. Yeah. So if you focus really hard on one thing and try to do it as best you can, then first of all you will learn a lot, and you will also get better at it, and you will probably it will probably turn out to be what you wanted it to be if you focus on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
great.
think that
But
is a really
thank you
good
very
place to
much
end
for
it.
having me, Alan. Yeah,
No, I
it was a
really
great
appreciate you coming
conversation.
on. Like,
Yeah, and thank
I
you.
love
Go ahead.
no, I was just saying I love talking to you, man. It's a lot of fun. These conversations they mean a lot to me. I always learn so much, and I love getting to just share experiences and um,
Yeah.
trade ideas. Because especially in this like kind of in an age where technical skills are important still, and being able to think critically is important always. But it's like the human element that's becoming more and more valuable over time.
Right. I agree.
So that's
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great.
yeah, man.
And thank you everybody for listening and asking questions and being here. Uh, yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah, we got some really great questions, and I appreciate
Yeah.
everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
and until the next live. All right,
Yeah. See ya.
catch you guys later. See you.